looks like it's moving. And then once it goes live, I go to Facebook, right? And the video will pop up and click go live.
Correct.
Still loading.
Okay, we're live on Twitter. We're live on YouTube.
Okay, it shows Facebook. Click go live now.
LinkedIn, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
Hello, everybody. We're about 2 minutes in before we start. It is 1:58 Central, or I'm sorry, Eastern. So give us a couple minutes. We've got a few more people coming in. Make sure, if you would, show your face on the camera. We like to see people. And if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. We'll start in 2 minutes.
Hey, everyone. Welcome, welcome.
Hola.
Good morning from soggy Seattle.
Send some of that rain. We need it here in Jersey, man. Too many fires.
Hey, welcome, Joe. Joe Vega's in the house.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
We'll get started here in just a minute with our fabulous host today, Wayne.
Jürgen is back.
Good to have you back. Hey, Jürgen, we're moving the challenge just for you, my friend. We're moving it forward or backward, I guess, in time. So hopefully that'll make some attendance easier for you or anybody in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, great.
That'll be next week on Monday and Tuesday. It'll be 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern time.
Right, and that's 5 p.m. Yeah, on this side. Yeah.
Great.
We are right at 1 o'clock. You ready to kick things off?
All right, everybody, it is 2 o'clock, and I want to thank you for joining us today on 11/11/24. Happy Veterans Day if you're here in the United States, and you are watching the AI-powered productivity tools and techniques session. And today's session will not necessarily be about AI-powered productivity tools and techniques. What we are going to do is talk about some things that we're actually going to continue talking about on Wednesday. And so just as I always start, let me share my screen here. If you would go off of your, show your face, if you would, I appreciate it. That would be very helpful. And we like that idea that, you know, we're all in this together. So there we go. Okay. So everybody can see the screen here or not?
Yeah, we're looking at it.
Okay. All right. So as I always start my program, I always start with the infamous Mr. Jones, who told me in today's program, today's session will focus around this little thing, what we focus on. So focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. And so one of the things I talked about previously on a Wednesday night is the ideal customer profile. And on top of that, I started creating this thing called the Calm Assertive Presence, CAP. And we'll get into first the ideal customer profile. why it's important. Everybody may or may not necessarily know. So for those that don't, and for those on the replay, we'll just go ahead and cover it anyway, because the ideal customer profile is basically a detailed picture of your best customer. This is somebody who really benefits from what you're selling and also brings back really a lot of good value to your business. And that's what makes it profitable. So there are other ways that you can benefit, like it's cutting down the cost and it makes your operations run smoother and helps their staff work better. That's what we're looking for. So remember your ideal customer profile. If you've ever dealt with a buyer persona before, they're not the same thing. So think of your ICP as your perfect customer, the one who benefits the most from what you're selling. And while you may encounter many different types of customers or buyer personas in your AI sales, you really just have one ICP. And in fact, it's called the ideal customer profile. For those that are in a startup session, you could almost call it your initial customer profile. And so this is a customer who best fits your product or service. And I'll give you a great example is Amazon. When Amazon started, their ICP is not even close to what it is now. I mean, now they're everything to everybody. But when it started, do you guys remember what they first started selling when Amazon came on?
Ba-boom, books.
Books, that's right. And books, if you remember right, back it was Barnes & Noble was a big seller. Remember Borders? That was another big seller. And in fact, if I recall right, Borders had the opportunity to get involved with Amazon. And they kind of poo-pooed the whole idea and said, well, nobody's going to buy books online. It's stupid. You have to come in and see a book. You got to touch it, feel it. That's how you buy things. And where's Borders now? They're gone. So Amazon's initial customer profile, or ICP, was books. And as they started getting that niche solidified and became the masters of selling all of these books and everything else involved with that, because I think they even did some music, then they started taking that ring and they went out. I think their next step was household goods, kitchenware, if I recall right. So your ICP is what's going to generate, that's your business. So when you generate high quality leads using your ICP, they're more likely to convert into buying customers. So whether you're the person handling lead generation yourself, or if you've incorporated external information into your organization, your ICP will act as your guiding star to make sure that you're targeting the right people. So your ICP is the key to generating high quality leads that are more likely to convert. And if you understand the benefit of your ICP, how they gain from your product, this equips you to sell more effectively. And you'll see a little bit later, we'll get into actually some scripts. So whether your target involves a number of conversations or meetings or reaching out to ambitious revenue goals, knowing exactly who you're selling is crucial. So let me, by a show of hands, or you can even come off the mute if you like, who has an ideal customer profile already developed? Steve, would you mind sharing what yours is?
Sure. It's a $4 million to $50 million company with 3 people on the executive team, and an executive team that hasn't really implemented or started with AI yet.
Okay. And how did you come to that, having that as your ICP?
It started with my scaling up coaching business, because I need at least a few people on the executive team for the CEO to delegate to, where they can't start working on the business instead of working in the business. And then when I got Chief AI Officer certified, I translated it over where I'm helping them through AI get the same results but better, faster.
Okay. When you started with your ICP, did you know exactly what it was? Like out of the chute, it was a first one right away? Or was this more of a, what everybody experiences, trial and error?
It was like a good long process of trying to figure out what the right fit customer was, and realizing you got to say no to certain people that aren't your ICP.
That that is ever so hard, isn't it?
It's hard, but it's, every time you say yes, that's no to something else. So make sure you pick your nose and pick them properly.
Yeah, it's almost at, and especially in the AI industry, and thank you, I appreciate it, Steve. In the AI business right now, there's so much. Well, first, I find a lot of people in our industry do not know, one, they don't know not even what their ICP is. They really don't even know who their market is. And so I don't know, I mentioned this, I think last week. For me, I've learned, and this comes, from dozens of years back, almost a century back. It's back then we called it the rule of advertising. And now it's really the rule of marketing. So it is what you say times how many times you say it times the quality of the people you say it to. So that ICP is the quality of the people you say it to. If your market is reaching out to what Steve's talking about, but you're targeting people and you find 14-year-old skateboarders are hitting your website and filling out your forms and everything else, I don't know about you, but I just don't know a whole lot of 14-year-old skateboarders, even if they're famous, would be in the market for what we do. And if they did, that niche is ever very, very, very small. And so I want to increase my odds. I want to increase my market. And so that's why knowing what you say, times how many times you say it, times the quality of the people you say it to. Once you narrow down and you know the people that you're saying it to, as Steve said, because as we all start this thing over the last year, the easiest thing and the hardest thing to do is to pick the low-hanging fruit. Anybody that comes along, if you can fog a mirror and you got a check that cashes, I will do business with you. But I'm really only shooting myself in the foot by doing that, because that's not targeting my ideal customer. Once I know who my ideal customer profile is, and I know that market, then all of my marketing efforts, all of my branding, all of my messaging, everything revolves around that ideal customer profile. If you don't know what that is, you just sort of have, and this is what I see a lot of, the messaging is just all over the place. And that's because it's a shotgun approach, right? We're just sort of scattering it out there. Hopefully we get somebody, hopefully we hit the right person. Maybe somebody will come across our site. Maybe we'll show up in the search engine rankings. I don't know. It just floors me how, and that's a question I keep coming back to. How do people, without knowing, one, who the market is, of their ideal customer profile, how do you know if you're ever reaching the right customer? And how, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, right? So you'll get some business, but how do you duplicate? How do you sort of like make this thing happen on demand? Because if you can't, you'll go out of business quicker than you realize, because as soon as somebody else knows how to do that, a guy like Steve, he's going to come in, he's going to go, okay, I know I need to do this and this and this and this because I get these kind of results. I know what my metrics are. I know how to reach these ideal customers. And this is the messaging. We're doing it on all these platforms. So Steve's going out there doing business on purpose versus this slipshod, we'll see what happens. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting lucky. And we have too great of an opportunity, really just a magnificent opportunity to mess it up. I mean, why do business that way? So understanding your ideal customer profile gains you all kinds of opportunity that maybe if your competition isn't doing it, then, and you do, then, I mean, you're just naturally going to win at some point. So to me, it's just a no-brainer, okay? So time is valuable. You don't spend it on prospects who are unlikely to purchase. Your ideal customer profile helps you focus on leads from the businesses that need your product and they have the means to buy it. If you guys remember, I've been always touting this A to Z directory. And one of the things I like about it, now there are some other lead generating companies out there, lead list buildings. You can go out there and buy all this information. What I like doing is getting the information, compiling it as inexpensively as I can, because no matter who you get your leads from, no matter who you get your data from, you still have to clean it. You have to make sure it's clean and that it's right. And, some of it is because, let's see, 24 years ago, I had a business magazine, and that was before the internet was really, it had all these names on there, had all these lists. So it was kind of relatively new. And so I had a business publication. And so the only way we could reach our market to find who our ideal customer profile was that we called them, or we mailed them, and we may email them, but we had to get their email address. So mostly it was a lot of calling, a lot of phone calling to find out. We knew the name of the business, we knew the address, we knew the phone number, obviously, but all the rest of those details that fill out what you need for a customer profile, that we had to ask, we had to talk to. If we could email them, great, but a lot of times we had to mail. And so you went through that process of it, mail it out. It took so many days for them to respond. If they didn't, if they responded back and they sent it back, that was great. So it was a really slow, tedious process to build this list. And what I like about the A to Z is that, one, it's free. Two, it winds up giving you a great base of information that you then can build on incredibly. So you can take that list, and if you want to go to another company and have them fill in the Swiss cheese holes that are missing of information, you're paying for only that amount of information versus all of it. So you wind up saving some good money. Okay. By leveraging your ideal customer profile, your sales team, if you've got one, can sell more effectively and efficiently. So this focused approach leads to one thing: increased revenues. AI organizations without an ICP are essentially leaving money on the table. So who has ever tried to design or create an ideal customer profile, but you got frustrated and you stopped? Nobody? Okay. So if you're not creating an ideal customer profile, I'm kind of curious, how do you get your business, or where do you find that you're going to get your business? If somebody would share with me, just come off of mute and just share with the group and tell us what you're doing. I'd love to hear it.
I've done a survey before, like at running ads with just
pay-per-click ads?
Yeah, like, well, Facebook ads.
Okay.
To a quiz that is generally in the market that I'm looking to gather data from, and then ask some questions about what their biggest challenges are and what their demographics or whatever information, and then kind of build off that.
Okay. And how has the response, first of all, if you wouldn't mind sharing, how's the response been for the ads? And then what's the conversion been from those who have responded?
Well, I've done that for a variety of clients. I haven't done that for myself, but the conversion, well, you get some data from the ads. Like, I run multiple versions of the copy, and just click rates on the copy tells you one thing, like what's resonating. And then when people fill out the quiz or the survey, that it's not meant to convert anything. It's just a data gathering opportunity. Like when I'm trying to figure out, okay, who are the people we're marketing to and what are their challenges?
Okay.
Like, I'm not trying to convert anything. I'm just trying to gather data.
Okay. So you're in essence developing your ICP. So, okay. All right. So do you tell me what products do you sell? I mean, obviously you have an agency of some type. So are you selling AI products, or what are you selling?
I am now, but I guess the things in the past, what I've done is helped small service-based businesses figure out who their ICP is and do marketing and problem solving for them. So it's been a mixed bag.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Anybody else have anything they want to share? Any experience, any knowledge or wisdom?
I'll give one I think might help.
Yeah, go ahead.
Once you know your ICP, centers of influence, COIs, I call them.
Mm-hmm.
Centers of influence are people that might be able to find you your ICP. They might do work with your perfect right fit client. And so networking and, passing leads back and forth with their COIs has always been helpful.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. One of the things, if you've been on one of our Wednesday calls, I talked about, and HubSpot kind of came up with this. They call it smarketing. It is, say you've got sales on one side and you've got marketing on the other side, and then in the middle you've got the buyer's journey. And so we want that buyer's journey. That's important. That's the key for us for what we want to do. So a lot of times I'm finding, and I'm only basing this upon the people that work for me. I talk to some of the people within Chief AI Officer, but there's so many different ways that people are doing this that for me, I just go back to what it is I'm used to doing, what it is I know I do. When I sold traditional advertising, when I sold my business publication, when I sold radio advertising, when I had my digital marketing agency for 16 years. So I just fall back more on a traditional marketing aspect, which is I either pick up the phone and call somebody, or I email, or I go out and I see people in person, or we do snail mail, and all the other things in between that you see there. So we've got where we can do blogs, and we're doing Facebook, and we're doing all types of social media. We're reaching out to businesses on LinkedIn. So our goal is really to find out. I talk about on Wednesday night. It's like a facet of a diamond. There are different ways we talk about the sequence. And in sequencing, you've got steps that you go through, and these are on-purpose steps that you do to reach out to your market. So it could be the first step for us is usually a phone call of some type and or a voicemail. Okay. Next is going to be an email. Next might be, and these are so many days apart, and we use a CRM, we use HubSpot to put those sequences in there and to trigger those things so that we know when it comes up on a daily basis, we know who we're going to talk to and where they are in the sequence. And then everything that happens in that sequence, then we put that information into the CRM. So that's how I do it. I don't know how some people do it. I have a feeling they're sort of more off the cuff. And again, maybe some of it's more the low hanging fruit. We'll just sort of see what happens. I would rather do things I know I have to do these things because otherwise I space out on it. I get too many things going on. And unless I have it documented, unless I have something in front of me that tells me what to do on a daily basis, a lot of times it doesn't get done. So we're interested in finding out, how do we keep our attitude right? Because when you're going through all these sequences, some people buy right away. Some people engage with you right away. Some people don't. Some people are real body parts. They're real jerks. They whatever's going on. So what happens is I find that I have to, for me, and for the people that work for me, we have to maintain what we call a calm, assertive presence. And a calm, assertive presence focuses on the individual's ability to influence others through both verbal and nonverbal communication, ensuring that they're perceived as both approachable and authoritative. So it emphasizes a less overtly dynamic interaction than engaging, but a strong focus on the authority and the influence that the person holds in that space. So this calm assurance, the calm, assertive presence is something that you may have sort of heard something of. It wasn't called that. Maybe it's called something else, but we call it that because the assertiveness is a term that's almost a little, it can trigger some people. And assertive, I'm not meaning being aggressive, being insulting, being pushy. It's really, the calm assertiveness is something that I do for me that gets me in gear and in the motion to do the things that I need to do. So the phrase is effective in leadership roles or in situations where maintaining the authority while being approachable is crucial. For example, when you're dealing in C-suite. So it's well suited for environments where the decisions need to be made with confidence, but without causing tension or conflict, such as in management, C-suite, negotiations, or high-stakes sales. So how do you develop a CAP? How do you develop a calm, assertive presence is essential in both personal and professional settings, particularly in leadership and sales roles. So we're going to talk about some specific steps that you can do to create this type of demeanor. One, self-awareness. You've got to reflect on the triggers. You've got to understand what situations make you feel stressed or overly emotional, and recognizing those can help you maintain composure. You're going to find out when you start when I have somebody that starts for me and we go out and we start doing cold calls and we start doing cold calls in person, you find out real quickly what triggers them. You find out what their fears are. You find out what their anxieties are, especially the first time, they've been watching, they've been sort of shadowing you and finding out what they're supposed to do. And when it's their time to do it, all of a sudden, all this stuff kind of bubbles up inside of them. And so the key is it's the emotional intelligence. You got to work on recognizing your emotions and those of others, and being aware helps manage the reactions and interactions more effectively. 2, preparation. You got to know your stuff. Confidence comes from knowledge, and well preparation in a meeting, in a presentation, and negotiation is so critical. You got to anticipate questions and objections. You got to prepare responses and solutions in advance, which help maintain a calm demeanor during the discussions. So one of the things we have, and I wish I could turn my camera around, but I've got like this large monitor here, and I have pieces of paper that are cardboard that are like going all around my screen. And some of those are my objections, and some of those are just different thoughts and things that I want to, as I'm talking to somebody, I can look up and I can see things. If I feel like, the amygdala, if you guys have heard of the amygdala in your brain, the reason we do this is because if you're talking to somebody and I don't know if you're having a bad day, if things are off, you didn't sleep well, you got into an argument with the wife, the husband, somebody almost wipes you out on the way to come into your office if you've got one, or just things happen. And you talk to somebody and they say something and they just sort of hit you with a 2x4 in the middle of the head. And it's that fight or flight. All of a sudden, you can't even remember your name. It's like, when the house is on fire, and the one thing they teach us is that you write your address by somewhere where you're calling. Because if your house is on fire, you'd be surprised how many people forget what their address is when they're in the middle of that fight or flight. And that's just human beings. That's the way the brain operates. So that's why you do that. In the old days, we'd have a little sticker by our phone saying what our address was. And so fight or flight is going to happen to everybody eventually. You're going to meet somebody and they're just going to whack you, and you're just all of a sudden you're off center and you don't know what to say. And that's why when we take our little objections, we take our things we're going to say and we put them around our monitors, it's so that I know I can look at that and I just instinctively just start saying it. And hopefully my brain gets back in gear, I get centered, and I get that calm, assertive presence back again, and I'm not off kilter. So, and that comes from preparation. That comes from practice and preparation. And I know that part of the preparation, and some of this is, and we talk a little bit about it later on, is going to be role playing. And I don't know if any of you guys do any kind of role playing for what it is that you do in your sales, in your marketing. I don't know. I would hope that you do. If you don't, I don't know how you internalize it. The only way I know of any skill to become a skill and to internalize it is to practice and practice and practice it. And if you're practicing by yourself, that doesn't work. It doesn't seem to like cement it in. Whereas if you get that, if you're practicing, it's a safe spot. It's a place where you can mess up, but you're doing it and you learn. You get that amygdala starts to fire off, and you're going, okay, I need to learn this. I need to learn this script. If it's a script, I need to learn my script better. I need to know what they're saying. I need to know what I'm saying, and going back and forth. If I'm listening to them and it's muscle memory and I know what to say, I really can take the time to listen to them. Number 3, we practice mindfulness and stress reduction techniques. So we practice regular meditation, regular practice, and can significantly improve your ability to stay calm and composed. And everybody knows that. Breathing exercises that I think the Marines are the ones. Steve, you were a Marine, weren't you?
I am. And by the way, are your screen supposed to be moving? Because it's still your ideal customer screen up there.
Oh, okay. How about now?
And I am a Marine. Hoorah.
Hoorah. All right. So one of the things I learned from a Marine I knew, he talked about how to take 4-second breath in, hold it for 4 seconds, and then breathe out for 4 seconds. And that takes whatever is going on in your brain, your body, that stress, and it kind of changes it. I mean, it gets you back to a point where all of a sudden, you're calm. And so I share that with the people that work for me, that it is we've got to do what we've got to do to get you back into a point where you can engage with somebody and you can engage with them so that we move it past where it is, right? So 4 seconds in of breathing, hold it for 4 seconds, and then slowly breathe out for 4 seconds. That's a great term. Okay.
Actually, they learned that from the snipers. Snipers would do that before they go on their sniping.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's really where it kind of started from. And then they realized how much it calmed them down. They started using it elsewhere.
Okay. Kind of important for a sniper to be calm, right? So,
yeah, and your slide still says ICP, just so you know.
All right. I don't know why. Let's see. Is it showing my body language here now? My body language slide?
No.
Oh. All right.
It hasn't moved.
Has not moved. All right. Tell me when it's moving, guys.
Wayne, we're still on the same page today. If you look at the post, Wayne and I have not talked today, by the way. I had no idea what this presentation.
I did see your post today. Yeah, I saw that. I was
So
going
I shared the link to the video. That video is a guy my wife shared with me for better communication skills. And I'm like, wow, this could be adopted throughout the community. I've already given it to my sales team. This guy's a little genius.
Go ahead and share what you shared in the group.
Yeah, so it's let me just go ahead and open this real quick.
I give Wayne time to do some.
Yeah, it's top communication insights. So, after exploring some powerful communication techniques, watching Vin, I got some actionable insights that I wanted to share with you guys. And I shared it in a post. It's in the community. Some key insights that came out of it was establishing client trust early. So build a solid foundation by actively listening and showing empathy for client concerns. The simple step increases rapport and creates a collaborative environment from the start. So, the goal is not you're selling them something. You're a partner. You're trying to help them solve a problem, and you want to listen to those problems. And in every case, every customer really wants to be heard at the end of the day. So use vocal presence and body language, which is, going right into what Wayne is talking about right now. So in statements with lower pitch, this conveys authority and reduces interruptions, helping you maintain control in discussions. So, I know it's probably everyone's pet peeve when you're going through a presentation and someone keeps cutting you off, and it's just a really passionate, pretty much audience, and that's why you're getting that. But setting that tone at the very beginning, you're setting the tone to be authoritative, and they want to listen and learn if they're really that engaged and that passionate about the topic that you're bringing. And that's why you're going to get that. And sometimes it's going to be rebuttals if you're at a boardroom meeting and things of that nature. But again, setting that tone is going to give you a leg up. Engage your body language even virtually. So subtle gestures, open posture, and a confident tone translates into perceived authority. Going right into what I believe Wayne's going to start talking about now. Frame conversations to prevent interruptions. Start your calls by setting clear expectations. For example, go over the details and answer questions at the end. Help clients stay focused and minimize disruptions. Handle objections with coaching habit. I love this one. So ask open-ended questions like, what other concerns do you have? Or could you tell me more about that? This method turns objections into constructive discussions, helping address deeper issues and creating alignment. And you start finding opportunity, right? By just asking that. And it takes the conversation down. Hey, I'm here to help you. I'm not here to sell you. Overcome fear and judgment. Many of us hesitate to share ideas boldly, fearing judgment. Remember, people are often more focused on their own needs. Embrace and this communicative assertiveness, and you can make all the difference in critical discussions. And I give this to my kids a lot. I'm like, hey, I don't care who it is you're talking to. Everyone is a person at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, if they're making $10 million a year, whatever it is, at the end of the day, they're a human being, whether they're the president of the United States, whether, they're the governor of California. At the end of the day, when you're having a conversation with them, you're a human just like me. Yeah. So don't have that fear like, oh, this person is better than me, or this person knows more than me. That is to be seen. right? So some recommendations are there. Practice, and this is, I love, Wayne, you're just going over this. Practice, record, and review. Practice these techniques. Record yourself, record calls if it's, if you can. And they, obviously you want to tell the individual that you're recording it. Avoid filler words by pausing. Take a second and think. Instead of just the BS talk, think about what the problem is. And you can relay that in your body language, and especially always use video on these virtual calls. If you don't have a good camera, get one. It's going to be a lifesaver, and a microphone. You get rid of all that background. You come across a lot clearer. It's going to help you get those deals. Have your lighting set up. And this is just going to help you have that presence and, that authoritative assertiveness that we all.
Yeah. So Andrew, thanks. Appreciate it. Everybody, have a good day. Andrew just finished it all for me. So, I'm going to share the screen again here. And it's so funny because there we go. So can you guys see my screen here? Yes, we can. Okay. So our next one here was body language, which Andrew covered. You guys can see my body language screen, right?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So we'll move on from body language to communication skills.
Damn it, Wayne. I'm sorry, dude.
What? That's all right. It just shows great minds go in the same direction, dude. That's all right. If anything, it just reinforces, we're reinforcing each other. And it's all right, man. It all works, and repetition is what works, right? It's what you say times how many times you say it. We just said it repeatedly. So clear and concise communications. We're going to build the experience. We're going to seek opportunities. Hey, don't worry, Andrew. I got some stuff coming up that you didn't do yet. So we're good. Okay. We're going to seek opportunities, but we're regularly going to put ourselves in challenging situations. Each successful experience will build your confidence. So you need a feedback loop. After interactions, it's a debriefing, right? Just reflect on what happened, what went well, and what didn't. Most people focus on what didn't work right. Focus on what works right. It's, Tony Robbins talked about the missile, when they shoot something in the water, it's not going straight. It's going back and forth and back and forth. It's getting feedback and it's adjusting its course. So seek feedback from trusted colleagues or mentors. Assertiveness training, learn to say no. We've heard that before. Being assertive involves setting and respecting boundaries, and for yourself and with others. And obviously, assertiveness workshops are good. So role playing, scenario practicing, okay? By systematically working through these steps, you can develop the CAP, a calm, assertive presence that enhances both your personal interactions and your professional engagement. So this presence not only increases your effectiveness in various roles, but also it improves your leadership skills, okay? So CAP focuses on the individual's ability to influence others through verbal and nonverbal communication, and that ensures that they're perceived as both approachable and authoritative. And it emphasizes a lessly overt dynamic interaction by engaging, but with a strong focus on the authority and the influence that the person holds in that space. So we're going to jump forward here a little bit here. So I talk about selling ChatGPT services, right? So when introducing, and again, not knowing what everybody sells, the common basis among all of us is we're all out there selling something involving generative AI, so probably ChatGPT. So when introducing ChatGPT solutions to potential clients, a salesperson with CAP can expertly navigate the concerns or the skepticisms that they run into. For instance, if a prospect worries about the integration of ChatGPT into their existing systems, the salesperson can calmly explain, using clear and authoritative yet approachable language, how ChatGPT seamlessly integrates with minimal disruption. And so what I say, when introducing ChatGPT to potential clients, a salesperson with a calm and assertive presence can effectively handle any doubt and any worries. So for example, if a client is concerned about how well ChatGPT would fit into their current systems, the salesperson can clearly and confidently explain how easy and smooth the integration is without causing the interruption. I think we already said that, right? So let's see. Yes, we did. So for example, we're handling objections in a sales meeting. Objections are going to be, they're always there. They're always very common. So a salesperson exhibiting a cap might use their calm demeanor to patiently listen and understand the specific concerns of the client, and then assertively, yet politely, provide data-driven responses. For instance, if a client objects to the cost, the salesperson can effectively communicate the long-term ROI and the efficiency that they gain, reinforcing the authority on the subject without coming off as being pushy. So let's talk about closing deals. You closing a deal often requires a decisive yet a sensitive approach, particularly when the clients are hesitant. So a calm, assertive presence enables a salesperson to guide the conversation toward the close with confidence, emphasizing the benefits succinctly and assertively, and encouraging the client to make a positive decision. So what I say in sales meetings, it's normal for clients to have objections. A salesperson with a calm, assertive presence will listen carefully to the client's concern and then confidently and politely respond with facts and figures. Notice the first thing they do is that they listen. So for example, if a client worries about the cost, they can explain, the salesperson can explain the investment will pay off in the long run through significant returns and increased efficiency. And that shows their expertise, again, without being forceful. So here's what I want you to do. We're going to talk about step 2, which was the preparation. So I want everybody to take a piece of paper out or type on your computer, whatever you want to do. But we're going to take a couple minutes here, and I want everybody to participate in this, because I want you to make a list. These are the words that you say. What you say times how many times you say it. That's what you say is, that's part of the cap, right? What you say to yourself. So I want you to make a list of confident words and phrases. And then we're going to do insecure words and phrases. So some of the things we might say either in writing, or if we're sending somebody a message, or if we're doing a video message or a voicemail, or just a phone call, or in person, but it would come off if you're saying those insecure things as insecure or pithy or somewhat desperate. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take and write confident things that you say. Confident words and phrases, okay? And we'll actually take about a minute to do this. So if you would, and I'm going to have you guys share some of them, and then I'll give you a list of some of the things that I came up with. So if you would, we're going to take 1 minute now. So go ahead and start writing confident things that you would say, confident words and phrases. Okay, 30 seconds. Okay. So if somebody's come up with some, if you come off of mute and share some, I would appreciate it. Who's the first one to share?
All right, everybody's too nervous. I'll give you a few.
Go ahead.
Confident words are save 2 to 4 hours per week on every full-time employee that utilizes AI.
Okay.
Optimize, scalable, save time and money, trendsetter, and a leader in the marketplace.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. Anybody else?
Happy to clarify, supporting your campaign.
Okay.
And that's all I have right now.
Okay.
Everything is going according to the plan.
I'm sorry. What was that again, Sasha?
Everything is going according to the plan.
Okay. That's a good one. I like that one. Okay. Anybody else have one? All right. So here are the some that I come up with. And you're going to see it's a little different. Again, these are almost like bridge sayings. in between my thoughts, right? So a positive, I'm certain that. I confidently recommend. Based on our experience, we've had great success with. I guarantee. Our track record. You guys kind of getting the gist of this? I can assure you, you can rely on. We're proud of. Let's schedule a time too. I'm looking forward to. We specialize in. Our clients benefit from. And I've got a list of, let me look here. I've got, I've got 28 right here that I came up, 29 of them that I came up with. Okay.
In my professional opinion.
In my professional opinion. Yep. Okay. So now we're going to go and we're going to talk about the insecure words and phrases. And unfortunately, for some of us, these are the ones we can write a whole bunch of because we may be more familiar with these. So let's take 1 minute, and I want you to, so you sort of saw what I did with the positive ones. I want you to write what you think would be the insecure words and phrases. So these phrases come off as uncertain, lacking in confidence, maybe even desperate, which might deter somebody from wanting to engage with us further. So we'll give it 1 minute. Everybody writes them out, and we'll share some, okay? Okay. All right. Who would like to share what their list is or what they came up with?
I can go, Wayne. May I?
Is it Rita?
Yes.
Hi, Rita.
Mine is very, very short. It's called I just. Anything you start with I just, I think it negates or makes it doubtful.
Yep. Yeah, very good. All right. Anybody else?
I think, or it should, just non-confident type words.
Yep. Good. Okay.
Another one could be it could, or same as it should. It could, it should, it could.
Yep.
We hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything that requires an article of faith.
Yeah, that's right. I pray. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anybody else got one?
It might, hopefully.
Hopefully. There you go. Okay. I think it was the first one. I just think. So I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm no expert, but you probably won't like this, but, and if you notice, but seems to be a part of this, I guess. I hope this is okay. I was wondering if maybe, if you had the time, could you possibly, this might not be important, but I'm not sure, but just a little thing. Hopefully, there we go. I might be wrong, but, and again, when I look at my list here, and I will share the list with you of what it is I came up with. I came up with 30 of those. So I came up with more of those, than I did with the positive ones. So what we want to do is in our CAP, we want to start listening to what we say, listening to how it comes across. Is it positive? Is it a constructive way of saying it? Is it something that really is kind of perceived as not being positive or being almost destructive in what it is that we want to accomplish? So what we're going to do is we'll, a little bit later on, we're going to continue on talking about, Wednesday night, we're going to continue on talking about what we do and how we take these things and say them. We're going to get into more specifics of scripting, but that's all I have for today. And if anybody has anything that they'd like to share about what we learned today, what we talked about today, I'd love to hear some feedback and hear some engagement.
Hey, I'm curious about your thoughts on the idea of when it comes to choosing an ICP, focusing on the problem rather than the person. And for cases where different kinds of people might have a similar problem, and because I've really struggled to come up with an ICP for myself, because I've had so many different successful ventures and helping people in different ways, but my inclination is to focus just on the problem and like what is the ideal. I get it, it's an ideal client profile, but like what are your thoughts on like focusing on the problem more than the like the demographics and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think if you're going to take your ICP and you're going to have a persona, you can't focus on just the problem. That's just my opinion. Now, does it all work? Yeah, it'll work. You know, as well as I do, it's testing. You know, I can tell you all day long what I think works, but it's that testing that tells us what the market really says and really wants. So I just test it. I can have my hypothesis, but the market ultimately in the end tells me what's true and what's not true, or what needs to be worked on, right, to make it more true.
Yeah, and to add to that, Michael, there's going to be variables, right? So when you're solving a problem, right, and there's multiple niches that you're addressing, they're all going to have their little variables, and some of it may be more time consuming than the other ones, and how you actually originally priced it, right? So then if you're not pricing it accordingly to each one of those niches, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So it's really, I mean, I get you. It's like our skills and like, just knowledge, you can probably address so many different problems with so many different organizations, but taking like what Wayne's saying and just focusing on that one, it makes you that specialist, right? And then you can demand more at that rate. And then you're going to be able to streamline a lot more and use automation a lot more. Implementing these workflows to understand that niche, and then now you just made yourself that much more valuable, and you're doing less, right? So when you start opening it up, you're creating a lot of lifting for yourself to learn all those different variables, and then you're going to go down each one and trying to create a solution for each one. And that's how we started with Dr. Genius. It was local SEO sites. We're servicing every small business. And thank God for the recession, because that proved to us where our retention was. And it was with healthcare and dentists in particular. So we're just like, okay, well, that's it. All our eggs are in that basket, because they could afford to pay their bill. And that's when you're looking at your ICP or looking for it, it's okay, who's most likely to pay their bill on time? Who is generating, revenue, and valuing the most from my services, because they're going to be able to pay you the most, right?
Those of you that haven't defined your ICP, Terrence's little GPT he wrote, I kind of answered it quickly while we were doing this. That's pretty good, man.
All right, Terrence.
It'll help you. Right in the chat. Definitely worth saving and checking it out.
And congratulations, Terrence. Congratulations, Terrence, on your new position too, buddy. Yeah, very good.
Michael, I'd like to add something to your question as well. I think if you're in the beginning stages also of figuring out who you want to serve, you might have those like every month, if coming from a marketing perspective, where you're like, okay, this demographic is what I want to target with this campaign. And maybe you do that for like 90 days to see what the reach is, if they're getting you a valuable client, if they're matching your price point. And then after that 90 days, if it doesn't feel quite right, you're shifting to a different demographic. So if you're in the beginning of like figuring it out, because I know some people who have like a creative mind and want to serve everyone because you just have this wide skill set, it does take time to figure out who that ideal client is. So don't feel like you have to start and immediately know, and then you're stuck in some box that you don't enjoy. Give yourself some time. And like 90-day periods from a marketing standpoint are it's a good test run, to see if like that's what you want to stick with, or speaking to certain problems, to certain types of clients, and then moving on to something else if it doesn't feel like a good fit. So you might look at it as you're beginning in terms of your marketing campaigns, and then that informing like who you want your ICP to be in the long run.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you, Megan. Okay.
Cool. That's helpful. I'm curious about Steve. You rattled off your ICP like 4 to 50 million, three execs. Like, where do you find yourself saying no? Because that sounds very similar to like that resonated with me. Where do you draw the line around industry, or like are you working with multiple industries, or
When you're first starting your business, this is not my first rodeo. I've built, bought, and sold 6 different tech companies. So I've learned over the years of the hard knocks of saying yes to people I shouldn't be dealing with, them sucking up my time.
Yeah.
So for me, as a business executive coach, not only I spent a couple of years getting certified and getting really good at what I do in my craft, but they're paying for the 40 years experience that I have.
Yeah.
And a smaller company is just going to suck up my time. As much as I'd love to help them, I had a kid, honestly, true story, not 45 minutes ago before this call, set up an appointment to talk to me, just wanted to ask me questions, some 18-year-old out of the UK. Well, I don't mind. I'll talk to the kid, help him out, give him some direction, whatever. But if I spent my whole day doing that, I'd never make any money and I'd be on the street.
Yeah.
So I just, at one point, I called them an avatar. For me, it was my avatar is who's my right fit, perfect customer. And that's, 4 million to 50 million and 3+ on the executive team, which is in coaching key, because if the guy can't delegate, man, forget it. They're never going to be able to work on the business and grow it and scale it. Or girl, to be fair.
So, Steve, I'm curious, what are you doing with AI? Are you doing any products at all with AI?
I'm actually coaching coaches and I'm helping them with their clients and getting them implicated into AI. But I'm helping coaches leverage it because that's where I really started using it on like looking at disc reports. Take 6 executives disc reports. And if you look at my capstone, basically what you see on my capstone is what I started using it for. And it's really just helped me save a lot of time, energy, and money, get done faster, and just know my people better before I even meet them. Before I do the 2-day kickoff meeting, I know everything about who gets along with who doesn't, who could take criticism, who can't. And that's key when you go to coach people, understanding the people.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Megan, we had something that was shared with us that you shared with me yesterday that I did not share in the meeting. So do you want to share it? The
podcast?
The podcast and also the smart cuts.
Yeah, I actually don't have that pulled up right now. But if you Google Working with AI podcast, we have a new episode up this week that is ready for your viewing pleasure.
Okay. And then is Segovia still on? Is he playing video games?
I doubt he's playing video games. There he is.
What's up?
So do you want to share you want to talk about what the smart cut was compared to, or what kind of how it goes with the podcast?
I think it probably doesn't need any attention on this conversation. I'll wrangle that into my call tomorrow and make it dead center.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's because otherwise I'm just gonna topple another conversation.
He didn't want you to steal his thunder, Wayne.
Andrew, I'm blocking you. I'm kidding.
Okay. All right.
And Wayne, thank you for pointing out that I did get a new title change at my job. I also got a raise, and I was certified CAIO on Friday. It was the trifecta.
Wow.
Jeez, dude.
Fabulous.
Good job, bro.
Winning.
Beers on Terrence, man. Way to go. So are you still in the same type of industry, or what changed?
Just a title. I'm still at the same company. I'm still in the audio industry.
Okay. Okay.
So title change and raise wasn't exactly the title I wanted, but it was a little bit better than I had. So.
Yeah. And you also were doing something with music, and I haven't heard you mention that in a while. So what's the status of that? What happened with that?
So,
unless it's
that's kind of a side gig.
Okay.
That's kind of a side gig, and I'm really focusing on, getting some cash flow in the AI consulting first.
Okay.
And then I'll follow up. I'll probably do a Kickstarter next year for my AI band concert.
Okay.
So I don't know if anybody knows I created an AI band based on music I've been writing for the last 30 years. And I figured out a way with proto holograms to get the band in concert. So I'm going to do Kickstarter next year.
When they asked me the question.
You got to see it. It's freaking awesome. You got to see it. It's like crazy. Good. Seriously good.
What is that? The band?
Yeah. And the music is great too. And the words, it's all just really good.
Yep.
So here's a link to the band. I'll put that in.
Okay.
Hold on. Let's see what we have. Group chat. So there's the band link, and give some information about proto holograms and the Kickstarter I'm getting ready to do. Also, the movie I'd like to create. I want to do an AI movie, but the AI is just not there yet. It just loses definition of face, and even the ones that say, hey, we keep your face and you can do all this, and it's just not there yet. So still
AGI is happening in 2025, so all your dreams will come true then.
Right. I'm still dabbling with it. I've actually finished my second album. I haven't released it yet, but it's done, because over the past 30 years I had been writing songs, and then came to the point where it's like, man, I have so many songs, I need to divide them into albums. And I have albums, so I need to have a name of the band. Well, actually, I had the name of the band, and I never told anybody because I didn't want somebody else to steal the name, Scarred, because, I mean, it's a great name. And now when you search a Google search for Scarred, SKARDT, I own it.
Cool. All right. Well, I appreciate the update. So, this has nothing to do with what we talk about, but it has everything to do with it, because these are the reasons why we're doing this business, right? I mean, Terrence wants a cash flow so he can start to build his dream, which is something he's been working on for a long time. So one of the things, I get people that will message me and ask me, what are you doing? One of if there's a lowest hanging fruit that we're doing, it's teaching. Is training. It's educating companies on how to use ChatGPT and generative AI. And I got to tell you, with a new administration coming in now and new breath of fresh air in the business community, look at what's happening. Look at what's happening with crypto. Look at what's happening. I mean, we had clients contacting us the morning of the election saying, okay, we got to we're changing strategies. Things are changing. Things will change so incredibly now over the next year that if you don't figure some things out, you're going to be spending a lot of time trying to keep up or not get behind. So that's why I say, find out what your ICP is. Take the time now to find out. Find out what your pitch is, find out what your objections are, find out all these things. Now you have the time to do it, because a year from now, you probably won't. If you do, then you're not doing much business. So I really want you to be there. Everybody in this group, we're early adopters. We got in this thing when nobody else was in it, right? So we're ahead of the pack. So realize that when you talk to C-suite guys, they don't know. They want to know, but they don't know what they don't know, so they don't know how to ask silly questions. So that's why you educate them. So we can walk in and do a 2-hour training for the C-suite and their staff, teaching them what ChatGPT does, teaching them what it doesn't do, showing them where, and of course now things are changing a lot. So they want to know this stuff. And now with what we're going to be doing with a Copilot, I mean, that is such an incredible opportunity for everybody, because you would not believe the companies that have bought Copilot from Microsoft, and they're just going, okay, what do we do with it now? I mean, how do we get this thing to work? What do we do? And nobody's been really giving them any training. So you can do it. Learn it, do it. I mean, and I know that, I think Karan's on here, right? I think he was on here. This guy's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to Copilot, but between Coursera and even Udemy and LinkedIn Learning, which was the old lynda.com, you've got 3 sources right there of knowledge for Microsoft Copilot that you can learn from and get ahead of the game, so that when we get this thing kind of figured out and certified with Microsoft, wow, we're off to the races. So, but you got to know how to do business, and that's what we go back to. So join me on Wednesday night if you guys would. We'll continue on talking about the CAP, and we're going to talk about how to build your business. And I go back to I'm the same guy. I just do the same silly stuff over and over. Why? Because it works. It works in traditional business, and it will work in this kind of business. So why not do it? So if anybody has any other questions, any other comments, now's the time to, I see somebody raise their hand. If you did, great. Otherwise, we're going to continue on with our day, and let's go make some money. So, all right.
Thank you, Wayne.
Well, later. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Have a great